Okay, so our second type of experimental design is called a randomized block design. Okay, we would use a block design if we think that there's something about our participants, some sort of characteristic that's going to affect how the treatments work and then therefore the response variable. So this could be something like age, race, gender, level of education. So something like that that's innate to our participants that we think is creating more variability than we would like to have in our research. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in a block design is we're going to sort our participants based on this characteristic. Okay, so this is not a random assignment because these characteristics are innate to the people. So suppose that we were interested in sorting people by age. So maybe we had a group of people in their 20s, a group in their 30s, a group in their 40s, and so on. Each of those is called a block. So there would be a block of people in their 20s, a block of people in their 30s, and so on. Okay, from each block, then we're going to split people into treatment groups, and each block will have all of the treatments within it. Okay, this will allow us to compare within each block how effective the treatments were, as well as we can do an overall comparison and see if we notice any patterns going on overall. The reason we do a block design is it helps us to minimize bias and the effects of lurking variables, and we'll be able to see the effects of the treatment much more clearly. All right, so let's take a look at number 14 on the classwork. This is in the bottom of page 6. It's called golf ball driving distances. So suppose we want to compare the driving distances for 5 different brands of golf balls. For 40 golfers, we select an even number of men and women as we suspect the results might vary by gender. Each person is randomly assigned to test one brand of golf balls. Diagram this experiment. So let's start out our subjects. We have 40 golfers. Okay, our blocks. So we suspect there's a difference between men and women. Those are the 2 groups they gave us. So let's use that. Okay, and then it asks for the factors and levels. So we are considering 5 different brands of golf balls. So golf ball brand. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to call them A, B, C, D, and E. Those are going to be our levels. And then my response variable is going to be the distance that the ball is driven. All right, and then last but not least, you have a question, is there blinding going on here? So it's not explicitly stated in the problem. It's possible that there is some blinding in the sense that maybe the golf balls are unmarked and so people don't know which brand of golf ball they're using. But it's either not blind or possibly single blind at best. All right, so let's go ahead and diagram this experiment. Let's see if I can scoot this slide out of the way. Okay, so our subjects, let's put our 40 golfers down. And then we're going to split them by our blocks. Remember, there's no random assignment here. This is just a characteristic of the participants in our study. So it says we have an even number of men and women. So I guess that means we have 20 men and 20 women. So this is what falls under that category of organized. So remember, up until now, we've skipped this one or written NA there that we didn't have an organizational component, but now we do because we're using these blocks. So the blocks are going to fall under the organized piece. And then we need to split people into groups and treatments. So we have 5 levels, so we're going to need 5 groups. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to draw some spokes off of each. So each block is going to get 5 groups from it. And there'll be 4 men in each of the groups off the first block. And 4 women off the block in the second group. Okay, and it does say that they're randomly assigned to test one brand of golf ball. So we'll put a random assign in here. And so each one of these groups is going to get brand A. One group gets brand B, one gets C, one gets D, and one gets E for the men. And then the same exact thing for the women. So we're just going to be duplicating this, and we're going to look at these results among the men, and then look at the results among the women. So here are treatments, A through E. So I'm going to want to compare the distance among the men and the distance among the women. And then we'll do one overall comparison of the distance, since that's our response variable. All right, so let's review this really quickly. So our subjects are our 40 golfers. Our organizational technique is a block. So we split this into 20 men and 20 women. From there, we randomly assigned the 20 men into 5 groups. And then each group had a different golf ball. So the first group had A, then B, C, D, and E. And we did the same thing with the women. We took the block of women and split that into 5 groups, and each group was assigned a different golf ball. We compared the distance between the women and the distance between the men to see if there was a golf ball that generated a further distance in the driving process. And then we should compare them overall to see if there's an overall winner. And that is going to be your block design.